Hey everyone, quick thought before we dive in. Tiny soap opera moment, big career ripple. Today we're unpacking a story that sounds simple on the surface but reveals a lot about early acting pressure, the fame machine, and how a single TV moment can redefine your path. Let's talk about James Murray's 3-episode debut on Coronation Street and the roller coaster that followed. If you've ever watched actors stumble into a long-running show, you know the vibe. You walk onto a set that feels like a time-scarred cathedral of TV history, lights blazing, cameras blinking, and a room full of people who know the rhythm. Now imagine it's your first real plunge into screen acting. That was James Murray's experience as Sandy the barman on Coronation Street. In his own words, it was frightening, almost daunting, and yes, a little surreal. He describes the vibe as a sausage factory, tight schedules, quick takes, not a lot of room for flavor or personal input. And there's Bill Tarmey, legendary actor of Jack, right there in the scene, polishing glass and catching the tremor in James's hands. That moment isn't just nerves, it's a rite of passage that tests your nerve, your preparation, and your ability to improvise when the ground feels unsteady. What makes this really interesting is how a single early career moment can tilt a person's self-perception. James says he walked into the Rovers, felt petrified, overlearned lines, and was a bundle of nerves, basically the antithesis of the cool-on-camera performer you might expect from a seasoned pro. My take: fear in this context isn't weakness, it's information. It tells you what you value about your craft and what you're willing to push through to grow. From my perspective, the moment isn't just about stage fright, it's about learning to translate fear into performance stamina, and that happens through pressure, not in spite of it. One thing that immediately stands out is the contrast between the speed of TV production and the depth a good actor seeks to achieve. James notes the environment as a quick turnaround, almost instinctual. Stand on your mark, deliver, move on. In my opinion, that speed can be deadly for a newcomer who hasn't built a mental safety net yet. It's a grind, neat, precise, and unforgiving if you're not anchored in your process. What many people don't realize is that this pressure often creates a choice: retreat from the field or forge a different, perhaps more deliberate path. James chose the latter, exploring theatre and other avenues, which suggests a broader lesson. Early misfires don't define your ceiling, they reveal your working method. The narrative heat around this moment isn't just about nerves, it's about what you do with vulnerability. James says he didn't want to become an actor who's thrown into the lion's den again, implying a strategic pivot. That's a fascinating move because it highlights a meta-skill: risk management in your career. In my view, many performers reach a fork where they either hedge their bets by chasing safer roles or commit to expanding their toolkit, specializing in theatre, indie projects, or varied streaming work, to stay adaptable. James chose the path of continued acting, just not in the same all-or-nothing setting. That distinction matters because it reframes the idea of success, not just landing big jobs, but building resilience and versatility. Another compelling thread: the human element behind a celebrity's journey. Murray's later work, like his role as Reef Lonsdale in the 2025 BBC drama Wild Cherry, shows a pivot from fear to firm presence. If you trace his career arc, you see a person who learned to channel anxiety into character work, turning those eyebrows into a signature, perhaps, but ultimately into a recognizable, nuanced performer. From a bigger trends angle, this mirrors how many actors evolve in the streaming era. Early gig anxiety can give way to diverse roles across platforms, genres, and formats. What this really suggests is that a single rough start doesn't imprison you. It can become a launchpad for a more textured career that defies the original constraints. Let's zoom out for a moment and connect this to a broader pattern in entertainment: the myth of the effortless breakout. The truth many people don't realize is that almost every successful actor has a story of doubt, of a moment when the camera felt like an opponent instead of a doorway. If you take a step back and think about it, The industry rewards not only talent but also stubborn curiosity and the willingness to learn under pressure. James Murray's honesty about that Corrie experience is not just a confession. It's a case study in turning a scary entry point into a long-term craft strategy. A detail I find fascinating is how quickly an actor can reframe a terrifying moment into fuel for growth, reshaping their approach to both performance and career planning. So what does this mean for you, whether you're chasing a creative dream or just curious about how careers in film and TV evolve? First, fear is feedback. Treat nerves as data about what you need to sharpen: technique, rehearsal time, or on-camera presence. Second, speed isn't your enemy if you build a method that can survive it. Practice in pressure-filled, time-constrained environments so your instincts aren't a surprise under lights. Third, diversify your work early. James didn't quit acting. He expanded his toolkit: stage, TV, and later, complex TV roles, showing that adaptability is a superpower in a shifting entertainment landscape. Closing thought: sometimes your origin story isn't a dramatic triumph, but a muted, nerve-wracked start that reroutes your entire approach. If you're listening and you're anxious about stepping into something new, remember, this isn't evidence of failure, it's a map. The destination isn't a single role, it's a more confident, versatile version of you. So, what's your first small move this week to push through a nerve-wracked moment and begin building your own resilient craft? If you enjoyed this take, drop a comment with your own first audition nightmare stories and how you turned them into growth. And subscribe for more creator style breakdowns that dig beneath the surface to reveal how big moments are really made.